special announcement. We have some brand new merch in the merch store, NathanMorris.store, like this shirt. If you are watching this podcast, special thanks to Jeremy. Hey, buddy. Yeah, the Hearse shirt, it's back in full effect right now in the merch store. And also we have a special sale going on, all the summer stuff like the tank tops to show your big old guns, your muscles. They're available right now for 25% off. Yep, everything in the merch store for our summer sale is 25% off. And also we have some brand new hoodies like the Berry hoodie and also the A Minute More hoodie, because A Minute More, the new single, is out now and streaming, and I'm grateful for you supporting the new song and the merch. Grab it right now. Grab you the Hearse. You may never drive one, but you sure can wear one. Say thank you to Jeremy, and I'm grateful for you so very much supporting me. And I've told you before, I'm going to tell you again, if you join the Mortals right now, when you become a Mortal, you get special discounts on top of even the summer discount, because that is available for everyone. But the exclusive Mortals, it's first looks, first listens, exclusive music drops, behind the scenes, and giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, every single Friday we give away merch exclusive to our Mortals members, access to VIP experiences, tickets before they go on sale. Like, they knew the new single. They knew, the Mortals, I was going on tour in Germany before everyone else, and they had access to the link before anyone else does. Speaking of, I'll be on tour with Wiz the MC, February 2025, Germany. Dates are posted at NathanMorrisMusic.com. Become a Mortal, and welcome to the Mortal Podcast. Been a show. It is a show. Still a show. Which pulls back the curtain, takes down the walls, brick by brick, and exposes the hearts of those caring for those you love most. I just stumbled upon a TikTok video of this man saying for 3 years they've been growing their channel, and they have been told by people, hey, you need to niche down. Niche down. And that is, if you are not familiar, it's fine. It basically is where you hone in on the thing. The one thing. For instance, so you're not over extending yourself or oversaturating. I'm not really sure why, because we are very intricate beings and we like a lot of different things and we're good at things. We're great at some or a few, but the niching down was this idea that the platforms and the algorithms are like, only this is going to work. And he has been for 3 years saying, hey, don't niche down. Don't essentially just put yourself in this box. And I have been teetering, because for the longest time the transition was real difficult for me, because you know the funeral aspect. You came for the funerals, you stay for the music. If you're new here, I'm grateful that you're here meeting me on this podcast, The Mortals. That is my goal, is to meet you where you are, whether you have much, whether you have little, whether you pray, whether you meditate, whether you do none of those. But in this season, wherever it is that you find me and I find you, I'm grateful for you. That's been the goal, and this has been a challenging time because it's, you know, taking the floaties off for me, because I went viral because of funerals. Everyone who found the funerals realized and recognized the music. I've been singing since I was 8 years old, and I have been an advocate for mental health awareness, and serving and celebrating people, and it's all full circle because it's the songs and the music that I create and I release. It just released A Minute More. Thank you for supporting that. It's streaming everywhere. And there was this transition after I'd sold the company. It was like, okay, I need to keep doing funeral stuff because that's all that people want to see. But on contrary, but it was hard to introduce. But well, for me, it was an excuse that I was making, and I had the hardest time transitioning. But this guy is talking about, hey, I didn't do any of that niching down. I kept saying whatever it is I wanted to about any and everything, and that is what the Alex Hormozis have said. That's what the Gary V's have said. And you are like the company you keep. And although I don't know them specifically, I don't have my Invisalign in today. It's literally right to the right of me, which is hilarious. And if you're watching this, you could definitely check this out on YouTube, Nathan Morris Music, or of course, wherever you stream your podcast. And speaking of, I would be honored if you left a positive review on your listening device. It's very easy to do. But Gary V. Hermosi, this guy, they're saying don't niche down. And 2025, apparently, allegedly, is going to be the year for podcasters, for social media influencers, for anybody who's creating to realize, and everyone's like, oh, no more niching down. Just do any and everything because that's what people want. It is literally what people want. The creative, like the music industry, the industry in general that we've always known, it's just been so unattainable for the many. You know, you've had a few handfuls of household names. Now, pick your pudding. Pick your pudding. You can literally have sprinkles on your chocolate ice cream. You could get a spoonful of butter pecan over here on the side. Whatever you want, it is at your fingertips. And that is beautiful. And so kudos to everybody, especially this guy. And I keep calling him Guy. I hate not recognizing and remembering his name. Something The Human on TikTok. I'll have to look that up. But he's been saying for 3 years almost, don't do any of the things that they're saying to do. And now he's being validated or vindicated. Maybe both. Maybe both. I share all that because I'm just sharing my personal experience. And it's hard to, it's fucking hard to show up. I mean, it really is. It's hard to be okay with putting yourself out there. And that's what I'm really going to focus on. All of my content is I'm just finding my voice and doing whatever the hell I want now. Obviously within, you know, being tactful and tasteful and things that I believe in, but I'm doing what I want. And as I continue to do this, I'm grateful for you all to be here and to continue to show up. And maybe this resonates for you in a special way. Maybe you're showing up to work and you're being a version of yourself. That doesn't mean you're not being authentic, by the way, which that is a very challenging thing to wrap your brain around. And so people are like, oh, Nathan, you're not being authentic. Eat my dust. Burn rubber. No, it's not that I'm not being authentic or hadn't been. It's just I had kind of been holding back to a degree. But I'm working to be this unapologetic version of self. And I don't need to niche down. So full circle, long-winded squirrel, goldfish moment. I struggled to really not let go of funeral stuff, but embrace the other parts of myself that I was maybe hesitant or fearful or worried to show and share with you all. And I'm going to not worry about that anymore, to the point where I'm going to go and release content where a drone's following me with AI and people are staring at me because I'm lip syncing a new song, like my new single, Minute More's out. What do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you believe in romance? Romance is not dead. I believe in it. If you're disgustingly optimistic like me, then maybe, just maybe, you'll love that song too. I'm on this big positivity kick. I'm on this big, I believe in manifesting, and we're going to talk about that because that word it sounds so woo-woo. And my friend Michael Hunter, who was on episode 200, I would love for you to check that out. I'll link it below, but he was talking about, he used the word woo-woo, and I use it all the time now, but he is disgustingly optimistic in a great way. And that is not a backhanded compliment. That is a legitimate compliment. I've been told I am, and it was, I think, backhanded, but I think it's great to be that. And I know that you all maybe start with, I know I do, I'm absolutely guilty of it, with the negative things that are going on in life, but I think we tend to teach the things or share the things that we need to work on ourselves. Let me say that again. I believe that the things that I bring to you all and talk about are the things that I need to work on. So keep that in mind. This isn't me preaching. This is me just talking to myself, and you're just listening to my voice as I audibly speak to myself, which is kind of crazy. But we start with negative a lot of times. Instead, why don't we start with the things that are of gratitude? And Michael talks about that, and I stumbled upon that. And sure, maybe there are challenges going on, and you might have some tough seasons happening now, previously happened, and you're kind of overcoming and navigating the waters of. But positive thought produces positive result. I want to talk about manifesting because it is a real legitimate thing. I have talked about like the CIA declassifying, and we're going to dive into that. But this podcast, of course, we got to talk about 3 random facts first and foremost, because that is always fun. And since I'm going on tour February 2025, get your tickets, please. I mean, who doesn't want to fly to Germany to see Wiz the MC and me open up and support? I'm very excited about the tour. Tickets are available now if they're not sold out. I don't think so just yet, but it will. And head over to nathanmorrismusic.com. But I want to give you 3 rando facts. First and foremost, in honor of being on tour in February, we're going to talk about what happens when you listen to music, which you may know some of this, Big Red Truck, but you may not. Dopamine releases in the brain. When someone listens to music that they enjoy, their brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, reward, and motivation. This is the same chemical that's released during pleasurable activities like eating, exercising, having sex. Studies using brain imaging have shown that just anticipating a favorite part of a song can cause a spike in dopamine levels, which is why music often gives people chills or a euphoric feeling. There's a part in my new single, A Minute More, where it really just opens up, and every time that build up, when I'm listening to it, but especially performing it, I'm like, yeah, yeah. This pleasurable response helps explain why music can boost mood and is often used in therapies for depression and anxiety. Music synchronizes brainwaves. This is wild. Music, it has this power to synchronize activity in the brain, especially in the auditory cortex. Rhythms and beats in music can align with a listener's brainwaves, causing a phenomenon known as entrainment, not entertainment, but entrainment. For example, listening to slow, calming music can promote slower brainwave activity, such as alpha waves, which are associated with relaxation and meditative states. Like when you go to the spa and it's like the rain, what's that thing called? The rainmaker, I guess. On the other hand, faster music with a higher tempo can synchronize with beta or beta waves, which are linked to alertness, focus, and problem solving. This synchronization explains why music can either calm or energize someone depending on the tempo and rhythm. Like that baby making music? Okay. And music enhances your memory recall. Listening to music can activate several brain regions involved in memory and emotion, particularly the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. This connection is why music can trigger powerful memories or make you vividly recall past events. Hence me always talking about, like, the music you pick out in funerals is very important, and it doesn't need to be boxed up. You can have it be whatever you want it to be, as long as it really just gets in your hippocampus. I blew that one. Studies have shown that music is particularly effective in helping people with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, as familiar songs can often bring back lost memories. Have you seen those videos where these people who are very much in late stages of dementia and are pretty far, I don't know what the word to use is like disconnected perhaps, and there will be these moments where they sit at the piano and they're like this beautiful, distinguished pianist, or they're able to recall that they danced and they go back to those movements that they once knew but had since forgot. It's absolutely beautiful. It really is. This phenomenon is known as the music-evoked autobiographical memory effect, or MEAM for short, where music serves as this cue and it unlocks memories tied to emotional experiences, which explains why a specific song might instantly take you back to a particular moment in time. Those are your 3 very random facts, but actually beautiful facts, brought to you by our good friends at ChatGPT. Actually, this podcast and every podcast is brought to you by Descript. Descript is an incredible opportunity and platform tool for you if you're starting your podcast. Why do you not have one? If you're a brand, if you're a service, if you offer a product, if you are a public figure of any kind, it is absolutely paramount, because I believe that you all are here because you believe in what I believe, think, say, and we align in a lot of ways. And if I say, hey, I believe in this product, such as Descript, then you are more likely to check it out. I mean, it has AI eye contact effect. For instance, if you are scared to speak to the camera, or if you can't recall, or maybe you don't speak good, well, you can read good maybe, and you can read it from a teleprompter. Maybe it's off camera, but with this effect, it literally makes your eye contact go directly to the camera lens itself. Not to mention, let's say you flub up, it finds filler words for you. It's transcription-based editing. And this sounds like it might be too smart for you. Well, it is, and it's too smart for me. But I don't have to worry about it because I don't have to know how it works. It has studio sound. You don't have to have the best equipment. It makes you look and sound incredible. It is literally a very affordable tool. It is web-based. You should check it out right now. The link right now in my description is a specific link. Lets Descript know that you support this podcast and you support Descript for supporting me. It's a big happy circle. And if you haven't started a podcast, you definitely should, because excuses such as, I don't know how to do this, should no longer exist. I appreciate you, Descript. Thank you very much. And now back to the show. I talked about in a previous episode, I'm on this kick of manifesting. I think it's really important to be positive. I really struggle with positivity, especially with a lot of, which I bet that surprises you. Personally, I do, because of the seasons and things that are happening in my life personally. And I really have this back and forth with self about finding the goodness, acknowledging that things are not necessarily the best in some instances, but they'll get better. Nonetheless, I told myself that is confession, which, you know what, lest thou be judged. Maybe you relate to that. But I want to talk about manifesting, and I said that the CIA has absolutely declassified manifesting and how it is a real thing. It is not woo-woo. It is not like, let's get our rocks and our energy rocks, which actually, I won't go there. So I want to talk about how the CIA declassified these documents on manifestation and the gateway process. So buckle up, Buttercup. Let's roll. The gateway process is this document from 1983, and it explores the gateway process. That's what they pinned it. This technique that allows people to alter their consciousness and tap into the quantum realm for manifesting desired outcomes. Now, you're using words like that, and you're like, what? We need to light some incense, maybe get some of those really smell good fall candles, get the leaf smell and the pumpkin spice smell going. I don't know, maybe. Could you imagine if people who are like real granola, I'm not making fun, I don't care if you are, but I doubt they're going to be lighting pumpkin spice latte. Maybe they are. I don't know, but I'm off topic. Okay. The process is likened to meditation, self-hypnosis, and biofeedback. But it focuses on creating specific brainwave patterns, like it's a hemisync is what they call it, to achieve altered states of consciousness. Okay, so the gateway process, that's what it is. It was started to say allegedly they believe this, and that's what they were studying, but the declassification, okay, we'll get to that. The key concepts of this, so hemispheric synchronization. By synchronizing your brain's hemispheres through sound waves, individuals can access altered states of consciousness. This is believed to allow access to non-ordinary realms of perception and increase the capacity for manifesting desires. And if you're brand new to this podcast and you're like, what the hell is this dude talking about? I thought this guy's a musician. Yeah, I am. And a mortician. And a human being just trying to figure a lot of shit out, just like you. So welcome to the shit show. Okay, reality creation. This report that's declassified supports the notion that human consciousness can influence the physical world. The ability to manifest intentions or desires into reality is seen as actually plausible within this framework, tying into quantum physics theories, particularly around the interconnectedness of the universe and how all the things are connected. And then if you think about, well, the chair that you're sitting in, how are you connected? Well, my ass is on it, in it, on it. See, saddle, on the saddle, in the saddle. Help me out, guys. But we're connected to so much, and we attract what we think or what we do, right? Misery loves company. It's a real lay with the dogs, get the fleas. Okay. The holographic universe. The report delves, I keep talking about the report. So the report is the gateway process. Okay. The report delves into the idea that our reality operates like a hologram, where everything is interconnected. This suggests that by focusing intention, individuals can influence or manifest the realities. The manifestation in the context of quantum physics. Now, whenever you see quantum physics, remember that show Quantum Leap? I loved it. It was amazing. What was his sidekick's name? I don't know, but I loved it. But quantum physics, when you see that on paper, you're like, I'm not very smart. I got a C in geometry. This document theorizes that manifesting works through energy vibrations and the idea that all matter in the universe is interconnected. When you set a specific intention with enough focus, it is believed to create an energetic resonance with the object of your desire, attracting it into your life. For instance, I am going to have a minute more go gold. It is going to go gold. It needs 5 million streams to be certified gold with the RIAA. You can help me with that, but I know it's going to happen. I believe it with every fiber of my being, and it is going to happen because I'm putting it out into the universe. Because, again, this is a woo-woo. Get your little rocks and crystals and all the other things, whatever. Maybe this is like really hitting and affirming that maybe I need to be more positive and think about good things happening for me and outcomes that will be good for me, and it will. Here we go. We're going to keep going. Here is additional supporting evidence and stories of actual manifestation. The scientific support for the quantum physics. Mainstream science remains skeptical. Certain interpretations of quantum mechanics suggests that consciousness plays a role in creating reality. The observer effect in quantum physics shows that particles behave differently when observed, leading to the hypothesis that intention and attention can influence outcomes. If I think that I am going to get 5 million streams and I focus on that, I imagine it, I literally watch the numbers in my brain on the back end of all of my streaming platforms and the analytics going up, that number, then it is said that it is changing the particles to make that happen. Now, how does that happen with everybody across the globe who has potential access to the song A Minute More? I don't know that part, but I know that there is supporting evidence to say that that happens and can happen. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, I believe is how you say his name. He is a prominent figure in the realm of consciousness and manifestation. He has conducted research showing that by meditating and visualizing outcomes, i.e. me saying the analytics, the numbers going up, people can experience profound changes in their lives. He reports numerous case studies where individuals have healed illnesses, attracted wealth, or achieved personal goals, going gold with A Minute More, through the power of focused intention. His work also ties into neuroscience, showing how repeated thought patterns can change the brain's neural pathways and making manifesting more effective. Also, it's like, positive thinking, positive results, positive thinking, like goodness. You're rewiring your brain. That is insanely hard to comprehend if your brain is not essentially wired to get into the intricacies of how. But if you're doing this, if you literally start this, and there are tons of extra tools, which I don't think this is really going to go too much into, but I just want to show that this declassified CIA document from 1983 is showing that it is a real thing. It is not woo-woo. And take it, put it in your pocket. There's your golden nugget for sure. The law of attraction and real-life examples is another example. The law of attraction, popularized by books like The Secret, which, maybe you've read it. I think Oprah Winfrey really pushed it. But suggests that you think and feel consistently. What you think and feel consistently becomes your actual reality. Jim Carrey has also talked about writing this check for $10 million for acting services rendered and dated it 5 years in the future. He kept visualizing receiving that amount of money, and within that time frame, he earned exactly $10 million in the 90s for Dumb and Dumber. He was on the talk show recently, the past 10 years, talking about that as well. But Neville Goddard's techniques, teachings. Neville Goddard is a spiritual teacher from the 20th century, taught that reality is shaped by imagination. I'm sitting really contorted in this chair. I'm going to lean back. I just don't know. I hate looking sloppy when I sit. I have this thing where that probably looked really sloppy too. He claimed that if a person vividly imagines their desired outcome as if it's already true, it would inevitably manifest it into their actual life. His lectures and books continue to inspire many modern day practitioners of manifestation. So here are actual documented stories. We all know the Wright brothers, of course, the first in flight. They invented the airplane. They're often cited as examples of manifesting. Their intense focus on their goal and unwavering belief in their ability to create something that had never been done before can be seen as the act of manifesting. Could you imagine if they gave up? We don't even need to get into Samuel Pierpont Langley. He had New York Times. He had government funding to be the first in flight. And they had press following this guy all over as he attempted, because he's doing it right at the same time as the Wright brothers. But when he found out that the Wright brothers flew, and they didn't find out for 2 days until after, because of course, media and the lack thereof and the ability to communicate, he quit. And Simon, forget his last name. He has a very, very popular TED Talk from like 13 years ago. Simon, you should check it out. Simon something. He talks about this moment. But the Wright brothers, they knew they were going to fly. They did not ever stop. They had this bike shop, and after work, they would take spare bike parts and go and, build this haphazard plane flying thing. And they did it because they knew they would do it. And it has absolutely just transformed the way in which we travel to this day. Samuel Pierpont Langley, on the other hand, he just quit. My point is, if you believe something's going to happen, if you really believe it, if you're passionate about it, and you don't stop, it will. Just saying. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. Arnold used visualization to imagine himself as a famous actor and world champion bodybuilder. He attributes his accomplishments to the power of visualizing and believing in the actual success before it even happened. And you might think these are just unique circumstances and very one-offs, but it's not. And then I'll share with you that the really cool part of doing this practice is you actually can start small. It doesn't need to be this grandiose thing. Like finding a parking spot can be a way to start, or receiving an unexpected gift, or meeting someone who helps you achieve a goal. These are powerful little smaller things that you can create positive outcomes. For me, I know 5 million streams and going gold is a larger one. But another one for me is I want so badly to have the kids on Christmas. Sounds maybe odd and not go into too much detail, but that would be really, really awesome. These are small wins that can help boost the confidence in the fact that manifesting is absolutely real. It helps with mental health, which, Nathan, hey, buddy, focusing on manifesting positive outcomes, it significantly improves mental well-being. Many people who practice this technique report feeling optimistic, empowered, and motivated in their daily lives. If you feel like shit, if you're sitting in and swimming in the funk and you're on that Ferris wheel of self-pity, get off the Ferris wheel, because they don't strap you in. It's just that metal bar that you can easily slip through. Scary stuff. Just lift it up and get your ass off. Wait till it comes to a stop and it's on the ground before you do that. And then be positive. Belief in personal power. Okay. The idea behind this is deeply encouraging because it emphasizes that that's you, my friend. You have the power to create this ultimate reality that you want. If you believe in metaphysical aspects, or you don't, if you focus on positive intentions and you set these goals, clear goals, visualizing success can create real, tangible change. You should try it. You should try it. So the documents, the CIA documents, they provide this fascinating glimpse into the possibilities of your mind. It's obvious that not everybody's going to agree with this, but it's very, very true. Manifesting is a real thing. I don't know what you're dealing with right now, but you should probably start small. It's like when you're wanting to do a massive life change. You obviously don't. For instance, if you've never worked out a day in your life, you're like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Well, you literally don't want to just start with 5 days a week. Maybe you should say, I'm going to go 1 day a week. And then you knock that out and people would be arguing, oh, you got to dive all in. It's hard. It's hard to rapidly shift the way in which you do something or don't do something. So maybe start small. Maybe get into your cute little journal and write Dear Diary, maybe start with, I'm going to find a parking spot in this very, very filled Mall of America parking lot. Haven't been to Mall of America since like 2004. I don't know if it's there still. I think it is. On from the woo-woo. It's time for the spooky. I should have said boo. Boo. That's dumb too. We're going to talk about is it the Villisca? Villisca? I'm going to look that up real quick. I don't know why I didn't do this. Villisca pronunciation. Let's do this. It's in Iowa, by the way. Let's do it. We're going to practice it. Villisca. It said try to say V instead of B. It is the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. You may not be familiar with this because it happened in 1912, but if you live in Villisca, Iowa, or if you're Jeremy, maybe you do know about this. Jeremy, by the way, is not just an imaginary friend. We know Jeremy as our paranormal friend he's in The Mortals, and he's a friend of ours, but if you want to meet him, you should join The Mortals. But our love for paranormal and Unsolved, we love this stuff because we want to know why, how, what, when, where. And a lot of times, you don't know how. You don't know. And that, as not Americans, as humans, we want to answer the how. So we'll insert our own thing, which, yeah. Okay. The Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. The events that unfolded in this small Midwestern town in 1912 continue to haunt the home as well as the Villisca, Iowa residents, but with numerous reports of inexplicable paranormal activity. The house is a chilling monument to one of the most brutal unsolved murders in American history. Why did I put my Invisalign back in? You're welcome if you watched that. So the murders themselves, June 9th, June 10th. On the night of June 9th, 1912, the Moore family, Josiah, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children. It's interesting because I feel like the name Sarah is in a lot of paranormal related stories. It's in the Bible for sure, but paranormal, there's always a Sarah. Sarah, you are, I was going to say, but I probably shouldn't because of what this is. I was just going to say that you all are, women in general, you absolutely scare us. The family attended the church event. And after the service, the family, I don't know where I was going with that. The family returned to their white, unassuming house along with 2 young girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger, who were staying the night. So 2 young girls that were not the family were staying the night. That night, everything appeared to be normal, but by morning time, the entire household would be dead, and their brutal murders would spawn decades of fear and unexplainable events. Sometimes after midnight, an unknown intruder entered the home, armed with an axe. The killer first attacked Josiah Moore, striking him in the head with the blunt side of the axe so fiercely that his skull was crushed. Sarah was next, followed by their 4 children, and finally the Stillinger sisters. So a total of 6 kids and 2 adults. The scene was ghastly, of course. The victims had been bludgeoned repeatedly with Josiah's face so badly damaged it was almost unrecognizable. And I share that just because to share the depravity of this scene and how a human could do such a thing to someone else. And an unsettling detail, the killer had placed clothing over the mirrors and windows, as if to hide from any reflective surfaces. The perpetrator also covered the victims' faces with bed sheets after they were killed, heightening the sense of bizarre ritual. And also some say that when you cover the face, it's a personal thing. If someone is killed, it's that they have a personal connection. They don't want to look at their faces. After committing the murders, the killer lingered in the house for hours. Bloody handprints were found on walls, and disturbingly, a plate of uneaten food was discovered on the kitchen table, suggesting the murderer sat down for a meal after the massacre. A lamp was left burning, but it had been dimmed, adding to the eerie atmosphere of the actual crime scene. Now, I'm not going to go into so much of this being like a cold case and have anybody done additional research. I'm sure they absolutely have. I'm just talking about, if you're not familiar with this case, what happened, and then since now the paranormal activity, they call it the haunting of this house. So since that night, the Villisca Axe Murder House has become notorious for its paranormal activity. Over the years, visitors and paranormal investigators have reported a slew of strange and terrifying encounters, such as many visitors claiming to hear voices and whispers throughout the house. On certain occasions, people have heard disembodied children's laughter, even though no children are obviously present. The laughter often echoes eerily through the halls and is accompanied by feelings of intense dread, which, of course, we've talked about energy and positive and negative. That is a house that's filled with a very negative experience and act. Could not imagine. Investigators have documented sounds of footsteps, particularly coming from the attic. It is believed that the killer had hidden there, waiting for the family to fall asleep before descending to commit the murders. The footsteps are heavy, slow, and deliberate, often reporting late at night, mirroring the time of the crime taking place. Lena Stillinger, one of the young girls sleeping over that night, fought back with this attacker. She was found in a different position other than those others, suggesting she was awake during the murder. Her room is now one of the most active paranormal hotspots in the house. Now, her room meaning where she was. She obviously did not live there, but she was one of those children staying the night. Reports of visitors, they felt the sense of overwhelming fear, oppression in the room, with some even experiencing a choking sensation as if they were being held down by an unseen force. Multiple visitors in the house since the murders have reported seeing shadowy figures that dart across the hallway or that stand at the foot of the beds where the murders actually took place. These figures are often described as dark, human-shaped silhouettes that vanish when approached. The attack in particular is where, the attic in particular is where people have seen the shadow of a man believed to be the lingering spirit of the murderer. Investigators have documented instances of objects moving on their own, chairs sliding across the floor, doors slamming, and lamps flickering even when the electricity was turned off. Some have felt cold, invisible hands touch their arms or faces. No, thank you, leaving them chilled to the bone. Several visitors have left the house with unexplained scratches or bruises on their bodies. Unexplained scratches or bruising is a thing that has been documented numerous places, and it's very eerie and scary to see as someone leaves an environment and they lift their shirt and you see claw marks, which would be, people think oftentimes as evil or demonic because, I don't know, I guess the image that we have, but couldn't it be evil and demonic and just be us clawing at someone, us meaning a human spirit or such? That happens after they provoke the spirit with questions, taunts. The blood stains that return. One of the most disturbing details about this house is the recurring blood stains. The blood of the Moore family soaked into the wooden floors on the night of the murders, of course. Despite the house being scrubbed and cleaned numerous times over the years, visitors have reported that stains resembling blood reappear in certain areas, particularly where the children were killed. The stains are said to manifest suddenly and then vanish as if the house is reliving its grisly past. That is awful. It's awful. Those who spend extended periods of time in the house have reported feeling uncontrollable rage or sadness, emotions that they didn't ever experience before entering. Some visitors have left the house and later claimed that they felt as though something had followed them home, leading to strange happenings in their own homes afterwards, such as objects moving, electrical disturbances, or disturbed dreams involving axes and blood. Why would anybody want to enter this house after the fact? Like, Jeremy, would you want to go here? I don't know. I mean, no judgment, but that's scary. One particularly unsettling account comes from a paranormal investigator who stayed overnight in the house in 2014. While conducting a seance, don't do it. In the bedroom of Josiah Moore, the investigator became violently ill and reported seeing a dark figure standing in the corner of the room, glaring at him with malice. Shortly after, he lost consciousness. Others present described seeing the same shadowy figure looming over him, the investigator, as he fell to the floor. His body was just, I don't know if it's coiled up, as if something had taken control. It was contorting, if you will. Despite several suspects and numerous theories, the Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved to this day. Theories range from a deranged local resident to a transient serial killer, but no one was ever charged or convicted. The unresolved nature of the case has only fueled the house's haunted reputation, with many believing that the spirits of the Moore family and their guests still linger seeking justice. I wonder who owns it. Whoever owns it, they've got some balls. I mean, it obviously attracts a lot of people. I would burn it to the ground and then take the ashes and have them, I don't know. If you would enter here, you're a brave little toaster. This episode is brought to you by Woo Woo. I get it. It's hard to maybe believe, but I know it's fact. And says Nathan, who needs to be mindful of being positive. It's hard to be positive. It's easy to be negative because it takes no energy. And again, I'm using that word not in this. It doesn't take much to be negative, because you can look around and see, well, I don't have $10 trillion. I don't have a new why would you want a new Jaguar? I wouldn't. But it takes more intentionality and effort to be positive. But I think if it were easy, everyone would do it. Is this saying that revolves around success and grandiose things for people. If you find yourself in a state of negativity or envy of others, or I wish I was here and you're not, it can literally change that. Says the guy who's going to start showing up and not niche down. Says the guy who's going to start showing up and not worry about what the fuck people think and be unapologetically myself. And I hope you are going to do that too. Really wanted to share that with myself. I don't ever listen back to my podcast, by the way, so I'm not going to listen to this, but talking this out loud and through this is really good for me. And I hope it meets you at a spot that encourages and uplifts you. I would be grateful for a positive review on all of your listening devices. Find me on all the socials, grab you some merch, become immortal, not immortal. We only have a finite amount of time. What are you going to do with it? Choose good, like be positive and make some shit happen in your life. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Let's get to gold and make a minute more. Get there with 5 million streams. You will write me a check right now for $10,000. This was a good one. This was a good one. Now, because I said CIA so much, I am absolutely getting my phone tapped. I'll see you over there.